Amazing being here. Just want to take a moment to thank Chainlink for, besides everything they've done for us, for setting up this amazing conference, for inviting me to talk about Overtime, which is a product built on Thales protocol, and it's a sports markets AMM. If there are any regulators here, it's definitely not sports betting. So, let's just establish that. You are putting money on sports teams, and you win if they win, but it's not sports betting. So, with that established, I'll just go through the agenda briefly. So, I'll make an introduction about myself, a little bit about Thales. I'll talk about binary options, which is the protocol, that Thales was spun out of from synthetics. And then I'm going to talk about how we took those binary options and we built something very fun, very interesting, which is the point of the talk, which is the sports markets AMM. I'm going to talk about how I see this moving forward. I think there's a very bright future for sports markets, especially with the support we have been receiving from Chainlink. And finally, I'll wrap it up. I did think to leave some time for questions. We'll see how we do on that. But just to establish it, hit me up at the conference. Happy to chat about everything we're doing. So don't be shy. All right. My name is, as established, Danijel Gornjakovic. I like to think of myself as a dev doing something. I've been a software engineer for like 15 years, probably 20 counting college. I've been mostly in corporate waters, so boring corporate waters. But since 2018, I've kind of gravitated towards DeFi. I fell in love mostly with synthetics. And I don't know if you know, but synthetics Discord back in 2018, it was the place to be in terms of DeFi. Like many projects were spun out of synthetics. Many big brands were there, like Curve. I don't know, I don't want to name them all, but definitely it was pretty good place to be. And I wanted to tap into this hot, fun world, which was DeFi. But I didn't know where exactly to start because I was, as established, doing like corporate Java coding, big data, etc. So I started doing these Discord and Twitter bots that were basically reading on-chain data. And back in those days in 2018, I know all of you guys use Discord, and you know those bots that show the prices or interact with the users. Well, in 2018, I was the one who kind of started it. Like, there were others, but I did many of those bots, and I kind of gained recognition as the bot master. So with that reputation and being very close to synthetics, I was offered to start Thales protocol, and I did that in March 2021. And ever since, I've been full-time Web3. Thales, the protocol, is an homage to the historical person from ancient Greece, Thales, who might not be as happy that he is now presented on Socrates' stage because he's older than Socrates, and he doesn't have a stage here, but jokes aside, he was also a very important historical person. And the tale of Thales, at least in terms of DeFi, begins with binary options. Binary options are, in my opinion, the simplest derivative there is. It's basically a derivative that's about three things. The first thing is the asset. And since we're talking about crypto, my example is about ETH. The second thing is the price of the asset. And the last thing is a timestamp or a block or whatever. But something is when you evaluate that market. So the market I have as an example is, will it be more or less than 2K at January the 1st, 2023 at 1 a.m. UTC? So that's the market, and then you take a sentiment on it, like you're either bullish or bearish on ETH, so you basically take a position on that market. The relation of binary options to Thales is that Thales was the first historical person to establish a binary options trade. He was very bullish on olives. He used his ahead of his time brain to watch the stars and just anticipate that olives will have a great yield that year, and he bought the rights to all the olive presses. And of course, olives had a great yield, so then he sold it back for a fortune. So that's the origin and why we named the protocol Thales. And we started the protocol as part of synthetics. I'm not going to go too much into history. I assume you all here probably know about synthetics. So synthetics did the first binary options implementation on chain. They wanted to start to spin this out as a separate protocol, and I made the pitch, and that's how Thales was, the inception of Thales as a binary options protocol as part of synthetics family was done in March 2021. I have a chart here. I just took it off the internet. I don't know about copyright or whatever, but it's a very simple depiction of binary options. And I'm going to be honest with you all, and I'm going to admit that even after like 2 years working with options, I still don't get vanilla options, like all the Greeks, everything that's happening there. Like maybe I could trade, but I don't know what's happening really. But binary options I find very, very simple. So let's take this example where the target price is 40, whatever that 40 is. Maybe it's $40 is price of Solana. Like Solana is somewhere around 40. So if you're talking about binary puts, again, if you're familiar with options lingo, puts means like shorting. So if you're talking about binary puts and the price is 40, you're basically saying, I believe Solana will be less than 40. And if it is, my option is worth 1 until 40. If it's more than 40, my option is worth nothing. That's the binary nature of it. So those options are also called all or nothing options. So yeah, that's the binary put, and binary call is you're bullish on Solana, maybe because you've been, I think yesterday there was a talk about Chainlink on Solana, so maybe that makes you bullish. You're buying a long option on Solana, so if it's worth more than 40, you have 1, it's worth 1. If it's less than 40, basically your option is worth 0. Cool, so we established what binary options are, but what do you do with them? I mean, you can hold them, but obviously you want to trade them, you want to earn money on trading binary options. When we took on the module of binary options, it was just parimutuel. And parimutuel means, let's imagine all of us here put money in a pool and we all take a position, either bullish or bearish on it. And that's when it's finished, we can see the price of the option, like based on how many people bid on which side. That's not very efficient. It doesn't scale that well. That's how it started. That's what we took on. It doesn't scale that well because people want automated liquidity. That's what we found out. We did order books. We implemented, OTC order books. And I don't know if you worked with like 1-inch or 0x order books, but it does still have a lot of centralized dependencies. Like the API at its core, it's centralized. And just like everything centralized, like RPCs, front ends, AWS servers, Solana, it can have downtime. So as I was saying, people want automated liquidity. And luckily, binary options are new in DeFi, but they aren't new like generally. There are a lot of books, and there's an algorithm that's called Black-Scholes that determines the price of binary option. So we took that algorithm, and we implemented it in Solidity. It doesn't look very nice, right? Not very intuitive, especially if you're doing Solidity version 5, which we took on from Synthetics. But we kind of managed to code it in. We deployed this on Optimism end of last year. Luckily, Optimism is dirt cheap, so even though this is like 10 million gas per transaction, it's still very cheap. So I drew this chart, and I'm not an expert at it, but I like to explain the binary options AMM. And I assume most people here are kind of DeFi natives, so you all know Uniswap V3 concentrated liquidity. The example here is that the price of an option is 50 cents. So basically it's 50-50. It's like if you take the current price of ETH and you say, will it be more or less in 1 month? The odds are 50-50, not counting other factors. And what our AMM does, it takes the price from Black-Scholes algorithm, which is in this case 50, and it provides you automated liquidity in a range that's like +5 or -5, or +10 or -10. That's a variable, obviously. So you might ask, having this in mind, why didn't you just use Uniswap V3? Well, the answer to that is that this center of the range is dynamic. As time passes, as the price of the asset moves, as the volatility of the asset moves, those are basically the free inputs we are getting from Chainlink. The price is dynamic, and the center of the range is always determined by Black-Scholes. And I think this AMM really had great performance. I mean, I don't think that, it's fact. Those numbers are unavailable on Dune dashboard. I think that we really got it right doing a binary options AMM. We seeded it with 70K SUSD, or synthetic dollars, or just dollars for the conversation's sake. We did more than 10 million. The presentation was done 1 month ago. It's like 12 million volume right now, and that's not notional volume. That's just pure dollar volume traded through AMM. And its profit and losses are like, it's up 400%. So it paid for its seed and then some. And this might be just market-driven because market has been crazy this year, and no one is really able to anticipate what it's going to do. Like we all thought after the merge we're going to skyrocket, right? So, but yeah, it's been doing well. So now we know about binary options and AMM around binary options, and we're getting to the fun part. I've always wanted to include my passions, my hobby into the work I do, like kind of, love your job narrative. And obviously, I'm not going to be a professional athlete at 35 and, my weight, but mostly the age. So we managed to include sports into this binary options AMM concept. We figured, all right, so we have those contracts. The only thing we need to build a sports market instead of a binary options market, we need oracles for that. So instead of using Black-Scholes, we were very fortunate that Chainlink and Linkpool have reached out to us and told us, hey guys, we've built this adapter, most notably the rundown adapter, that serves you everything you basically need. And those are like 3 things. The schedule of the games, and we support like 20 sports, all the major American sports, NBA, NFL, like, I don't know if anyone watches MLS, but all the American sports, Formula 1, MotoGP, all the European football or soccer, whatever you want to call it, UFC has been a hit, really. So we support all those sports. We get the schedule from the rundown, who plays who and when. That's very important, up to until which point to take on, not bets, right, positions. So we get the schedule, and we get odds, and we can poll odds all the time because, believe it or not, odds are very volatile. Like I was assuming before, if you get the odds like 7 days before a game, that's more or less it. It can shift like 5%, but no, like odds can go, like it can really change, like a lot. Even the underdogs can like become the favorites in some cases with injuries or whatever. So we poll the odds all the time, and finally we need the results. And when Chainlink implemented all of this, we started just developing our contracts on top of that, and we released Overtime, which is a sports markets AMM. It was released end of July, so it's been up and running for about 2 months. It has more than 1 million volume, and really we're just getting started. This is like beta version. So, and just a shout to the Solidity Matt, it has now become this, which is I think much more intuitive, easier to read. So we're just getting everything from Chainlink, so we don't have to do complex math or spend millions on gas anymore. Talking about the future of Overtime, what we want to do and what we've been talking to Chainlink, like I wouldn't put this here if it wasn't in the conversation with Chainlink already. We want to diversify the offer more sports. We want to aggregate odds. Right now, Rundown is a very interesting data provider. They actually aggregate, but off-chain, the odds from many providers like Pinnacle, DraftKings, etc., Lowig. But Chainlink is working on aggregating multiple providers, so there's no more single point of failure, obviously. And then we want to do esports. That's something our community is very keen of. We are working currently on parlays or accumulators. I don't know, we know what's the preferred term here, but basically where you combine multiple games into one for huge payout, right? So we're working on that. It's going to be tokenized parlays. And really, I kid you not, you can look at into contracts. Everything is fully decentralized. This is really important to us. You can take those contracts, you can run with them, and there's no like admin permissions or whatever. So it's really decentralized. We want to do live markets. This is going to be a challenge, because information has to travel to the chain, right? Someone scores a goal, someone scores a basket, the odds are changing. So this is going to be a challenge, but I'm pretty bullish that we're going to manage to do it. We want to do player props. We want to do fantasy, obviously everything that we can do about sports. As I said, I'm very passionate about this, so I believe we will achieve all of the listed items here and more. In conclusion, I think over time depicts, how oracles can help you bridge the gap between Web 2 and Web 3. I think we kind of got the DeFi part of blockchain of Web 3 figured out. We implemented everything there is about DeFi in centralized world or ChadDeFi into Web 3. But these are some use cases like sports markets where you kind of take something that's huge on Web 2, like it's a, I don't know, $50 billion industry or larger, and you allow users to use that on-chain in a permissionless way. One advantage that people have identified here is that there's guaranteed payout. It's collateralized. You don't have to wait for withdrawals. If you won, on your not bet, you can just withdraw it. The contracts cannot stop you from doing that. Of course, none of this would be possible without Chainlink oracles. So again, another shout to that. No more time. I'm just running out of time here. So no more time for Q&A. But as I said, hit me up if any of this is interesting of you. You have the email there. You have our Twitter. You have our Discord. Really, we're more than happy to chat about any of this or any synergies or collaborations you might have. You can hit us. You can check out our dApps that have everything I've been talking about. And that's it. Thank you very much.